Okay, sister, if you are familiar with the term estrogen dominance, then you are probably experiencing something along the lines of weight retention, PMS symptoms, bloating, inflammation, brain fog, XYZ, right? If this is you, listen up, because this video is really going to help you understand where estrogen dominance comes from, an overlooked area of estrogen dominance, and also how to really start reversing and healing your hormones and ultimately feeling better in your body. And if you're not familiar with who I am, I'm Kelsey. I'm a Christ-Centered Integrative Health Practitioner, and I help women overcome chronic health symptoms using a faith-based approach so that they can ultimately get back to their bodies feeling vibrant, healthy, and confident again, and to ultimately give the glory back to God. So if you're all about that, make sure you go ahead and hit the follow. Now let's talk about a really overlooked area when it comes to dealing with estrogen dominance and understanding where it comes from and how to really heal it at its root. If you are someone who has experienced some of the symptoms that I mentioned, if you notice hormonal imbalances, gut imbalances, and you're just wondering like, okay, where is this all coming from? How am I supposed to heal and feel well again? There's something that you must understand, and this is the connection that estrogen has with trauma. Now I'm talking to the ladies who have experienced and relate to certain tendencies like people-pleasing tendencies, the need for validation, need for control, inability or difficulty to set boundaries. You feeling me? If you relate to this, stick around and listen, because this is going to start making a lot of sense. When you have experienced some sort of adverse childhood experience or some form of trauma, developmental trauma, event trauma, birth trauma, whatever it is, when you have experienced something like that in your life, what your body is going to do is create a lot of cortisol, right? And so if you're familiar with estrogen dominance, then you're probably familiar with how cortisol affects the body, so I won't get too deep into that. But it can create a lot of inflammation if left unaddressed, right? And what we know about trauma is that when we experience it, because so much of it happens in our fascia and the way that it affects our amygdala, a lot of the emotional experience of trauma gets stored in our bodies through our somatic body, right? And so that's why somatic practices are so powerful, because our bodies, our brains think that whatever occurred to us 10 years ago is still occurring now unless we address it. So when our bodies are experiencing this level of distress in the body, at least when it thinks, if we don't address it, our bodies are still going to think that it's going through that stressful event. And so cortisol is going to remain dysregulated and high, or depleted very low. When this happens, this cortisol has a very direct relationship with estrogen. And so typically people who have really high cortisol levels or irregular cortisol levels will have irregular estrogen levels. Is it all starting to make sense now? So if we are trying to heal hormone imbalances and get to the root of estrogen dominance, we have to go backwards and get to the root. And so if you are someone who has experienced trauma, it is really important to explore that area if you haven't already, and really tend to those emotions, the emotional wounds, because our emotions do affect our physical body, right? And so that I encourage you to start there. And then the next best thing that you can do if you are experiencing those hormonal symptoms and you suspect estrogen dominance would be to get tested using something called a Dutch hormone panel. So this is a comprehensive hormone test that will give you it's a functional lab, okay? And so it will give you so much more information and data about your health and your body versus if you were to get a traditional conventional blood test at your doctor's office. It will show you all of your hormone levels, including things like DHEA, your cortisol cycle throughout the day, so we understand what's going on in terms of your adrenal function, and also how your body is metabolizing cortisol and your sex hormones, which gives us a much deeper understanding of how your body is functioning on a deeper level. If you are so ready to get to the bottom of your hormone imbalances, if you want to heal and get well and just feel yourself again, if you want to just have more confidence and also overcome some of those behavioral tendencies as well. I got you. Okay, I'm hosting a hormone masterclass, which I'll also be including a Dutch test, which is over $300 in value. I'm going to be hosting this early January, so make sure you get on the list and sign up so that we can get your labs ordered in time for the masterclass, where I will be going over live and doing live coaching of your results and what it means, what steps you can take to start healing. So comment Dutch in the comments so I can send you the link to sign up. I pray that this is going to be a blessing for you, and I look forward to seeing you there.